as I'm adding up the slides, the file size is also gradually increasing, and it takes little bit of time for Dropbox to sync between two different computers. Okay, not an issue. I have slides here. Okay. Uh, so guys, just a quick summary what we covered in the last class. So we discussed about Cisco switch, which is used to connect multiple end devices, and also guys, someone is not on mute. And Cisco switch, or any switch which works on layer 2, layer 2 OSI layer. The main functionality of a Cisco switch is to connect multiple end devices. That is the main purpose of a Cisco switch. When we talk about a Cisco router, the function of a router is to interconnect between different networks. Okay, it can be within a LAN. I mean, it can be within your office, different networks getting connected, or it can be between your office to your branch office. Okay, so that is also a part of networks. So the main function of a router is to connect multiple networks. So let's say this network is your office network, and on other side you have your branch office. So that is a work of a router. And what is a work of switch? Let's say I have a Cisco switch here. Cisco switch will be used to connect multiple end devices. End devices like printer, IP scanner, computers, laptops, anything. These are all part of end devices. And on the other side also you have. Okay. So on other side also you have a Cisco switch which will be connected to multiple end devices. Okay, so this is how the orientation looked like. So we covered Cisco router and Cisco switch. Today I will show you the packet flow on a Cisco ASA firewall. Give me a second. Yeah, there was some voice break. Okay, it's fixed now. Okay, so let's talk about ASA firewall. What is the full form of ASA? Now, if you would be thinking ASA itself is a word, then let me tell you the full form of this is Adaptive Security Appliance. And how is a firewall different than a switch or a router? Okay. What is the main function of a switch? To connect end devices. What is the working nature of a router? To connect multiple networks. Now, firewall, the main function of firewall is to allow the permitted connection and block every other connection. Okay, so let me tell you in this way. Let's say I have a ASA firewall kept in my office. Now let's say I have a switch and I have all the users with their laptops, and they are all connected to the Cisco switch. Now let's say I also have a router here, my Cisco router my Cisco switch, and in between I have kept ASA firewall. Okay. Now let's say this user wants to browse internet, or this user wants to connect to internet. So how is his data packet traveling? It will come to the switch will send to ASA firewall, ASA will send to router, and then router will send it across to ISP, service provider. Similar way, all the data packets are sent to the switch, and switch is sending it to the ASA firewall. ASA firewall will has to the work of ASA firewall is to send those packets to the next person, that is router in this case, and then router will send accordingly. Okay, but that was a normal behavior of a switch and router, right? Now what is the purpose of ASA getting, what is the purpose of getting ASA firewall in between a switch and router? The reason is the default behavior of ASA says implicit deny. Okay, that means all the traffics by default are meant to get denied. Now if that is the situation, if all the 3 user packets got denied, now who is then going outside? It's the one whom you are going to permit. Okay, now this is a network security engineer's role. So what network security engineer or what a normal network engineer does is he has to allow the connection. Okay, so there are 2 types of connection tables here. So one is called as permit, other one is deny. By default, firewall is going to deny. All the rules are denied. Okay, even these 3 users, their traffic is denied. Now let's say I am the network engineer for this office. Now I am going to say let's allow user 1 because he's a user from sales team, and he wants to access to Google to download some template to send the quotation to the customer. So we need to give him access to the internet, right? So we will allow it saying let's allow user 1, but at the same time let's block the other 2 users, user 1 and user 2. That is the main function of getting ASA firewall here. Okay, now was it really possible to get that this kind of behavior on a switch or on a router? Well, with the help of access list, there is a feature called access list which can be enabled on a switch as well as on a router. I could have denied them. Okay, I could have said that let's allow only user 1, but at the same time let's uh, deny other 2. But the problem with access list is they are manually written. In the sense, now what if there are users in 500 counts? I have 500 users. I'm not talking about only 3 users. I'm talking about 500 different users. So will you manually write 500 rules saying that allow this, deny this, allow this to reach to this server? No, that is not possible, right? This is good if you are writing manually 10 to 20 lines. Then yes, you can, you don't need a ASA firewall in your network. You can directly go to your switch or a router and you can just block the connection. But when we have user in a 500 uh, strength, now we cannot write manually. Okay, we cannot write manually the statements for individual lines. So that is why we are keeping a ASA firewall. Now what is the default behavior of a ASA firewall? To deny. Now our job is easier. Why? Because everything is denied. Now we will give the permission to only those user who needs the connection, needs the internet connectivity. Rest are by default falling under the deny bracket, right? So we don't have to worry about writing any deny statement. So that is the main importance of a Cisco ASA firewall, which is kept inside the LAN network. Now that is not the limitation, or that is not the only use of ASA firewall. ASA firewall is used for multiple other features like VPN. Okay, VPNs like IPsec VPN or site to site VPN. Now let's say you guys are all working from home, so you might be using AnyConnect. right? So these AnyConnect are all part of ASA firewall. It is all integrated. We are setting up all this AnyConnect on ASA firewall so that remote users who are working from home can get connected to the corporate network. Okay, let's say someone from outside of our office, someone from the customer premises, or someone from a different location is accessing my office. Now his packet is coming from outside direction, okay, towards my office. I will place one ASA firewall here so that I only allow that traffic to enter inside which I am aware of. Okay, let's say this is a part of my office. Let's say this is a branch office, and I know these are the users belonging to my company. Now I can allow their packet. Okay, so this is acting as filtering here. Similar way, let's say I have some customers like XYZ, ABC. They are also coming over internet. Okay, they are coming over internet. Let's say I have some software. My company or my enterprise is into software selling. So where are I'm going to place this software? In some servers. Some servers, I'll put those softwares and I'll give access to this server to these customers. So their traffic is coming over internet cloud. It will hit the ASA firewall, and ASA firewall will redirect that traffic to server, and the written traffic will go back to the direction. Okay, now let's say there are so many hackers who are trying to hack, or who are trying to steal those softwares. Okay, now let's say one pretend to be the customer and he comes and hits our ASA firewall. Okay, now first step is ASA firewall will block it. That is the best part of ASA firewall. Any unknown traffic, it hits the ASA firewall, it is immediately going to block it. Okay, it's only allowing which we have permitted, rest are all getting blocked. Now let's say this particular hacker or attacker was smart enough. He went through this customer XYZ, and from customer XYZ it started initiating the traffic. Now ASA firewall will take it as XYZ traffic, not the traffic that is coming from the attacker. Okay, so that traffic will get bypassed because our rule says if anything comes from XYZ, allow it. So it is going to allow this. Okay, now this traffic comes and hit that server. Now there is a chance the server or whatever software you have loaded is been downloaded by this guy, and he upload it on torrent, or he sell it to someone. Okay, the piracy what I'm talking about. Now how can I prevent this kind of thing? Okay, so let me tell you what are the different zones in ASA firewall. So when I'm talking about ASA firewall, we have three main zones. One is called as inside zone. Second one is called DMZ zone, that is demilitarized zone, and this is outside zone. So outside is one which is connected to service provider, internet service provider, and inside is one where our LAN users are placed. Okay, all our employees, the computers, the printers, Wi-Fi devices, switches, all other things which our normal employees of this organization day in their day-to-day activities. Okay, now what is DMZ? Now DMZ is one such logical zone. Okay, I call it as zone. These are called as zone, or we can also call it as security zones. Now DMZ is one such zone where we will be keeping our customer servers. Why do we keep our customer server here and not over in this? Because if you remember my last scenario, when the hacker went into one of our customer XYZ, and from XYZ it initiated a traffic, our ASA will think, yes, this is a traffic coming from XYZ, and let me allow it. Now I don't want that server to be kept here, because I keep my server here, the traffic will directly go here. Okay, now the chances are that this particular attacker has control of all my other internal confidential databases, right? I don't want that to happen. I want to have a separate logical zone called as DMZ, demilitarized zone, and keep the customer server within this. So how many DMZs can I create? I can create any number of DMZ. Okay, let's say this is a DMZ for customer XYZ. Only customer XYZ servers are kept here. Similar way, I have other customers like 1, 2, 3, and his servers are going to be placed here. Okay, why do I do this? What is the purpose of doing this? The reason is, now if you say that, if you think this way, that if the attacker took the control of XYZ, traffic was hit on the ASA firewall, ASA firewall will point that traffic to this. Okay, so maximum what is getting impacted? Only this particular zone is getting impacted. Our LAN is fine, and all our other DMZ, let's say this is a DMZ for customer 1, 2, 3, that is fine. Similar way, any other DMZs which I have created for any other customers, they're all healthy and fine. Who is getting corrupted? Only this. Okay, so it is not going to create any outage. Okay, there is nothing, a huge outage that is going to happen due to this kind of issues. It's only the customer XYZ who will be impacted. We have to tell them, we have to notify them, it's because of your lack of security reasons this happened. Now you have to fix all those things to secure your network, and then we can also replicate this same thing. So let's say this is all created on VMs. Okay, so it's a matter of just replications. You can just replicate the VMs, and you can create a separate DMZ zone. You can give this routing enabled, and the XYZ is again back with accessing. Okay, so that is a function of a firewall, especially like ASA firewall. Now every other firewalls, like for example Palo Alto or Checkpoint or FortiGate or your FTD, okay, Firepower, they also have a concept of zones. We call it as trusted, untrusted. Okay, the working behavior is same. By default they are all denying the packets. Only the traffic which we know and which we allow are going to be permitted. Rest are all going to be denied. And these firewalls is not that in a network only one firewall we are going to keep. We can keep 5 to 6 firewalls in a different uh, positions or different locations. So let's say one firewall I can keep very close to ISP. So this firewall's work is, anything coming from outside inside our office will be first inspected. Okay, similar way I can keep a firewall very close to my user sites. Why do I keep the firewall very next to my user site? Let's say there are multiple users like salesperson 1, salesperson 2. Okay, let me draw it on a different platform. Okay, so let me draw it over here because that was little bit not very much visible. So as I told, one placement of firewall is near to the ISP. So anything coming from outside, you can straight away block it. Another one is kept very closer to the user side. So let's say these are all users. All users are connected to Cisco switch, and Cisco switch is connected to ASA firewall. Let's say this is sales team 1, sales team 2, sales team 3 and 4. These are the employees. Okay, I don't want connection between 1 and 4. I want to restrict this connection. So what happens is, his traffic comes this way and then it goes in this direction. So I can deny that connection. Okay, basically, since I have introduced this, everything is getting denied. I only have to allow that connection which I need to allow. Let's say I get a ticket generated in my ticketing tool saying that user 1 wants to communicate with user 2 on port number 22. Okay, 22 TCP port number. Now allow this. Now as a network engineer, I will log into the firewall and I will allow this. So this is something which we will see in the later classes. I just don't want to bring so many technical terms on the first week of our CCNP classes. Okay, so this is the reason I have introduced one of the ASA firewall in my topology, so that I can show you this. But yes, this is not a part of CCNP at all. All the firewalls come under your CCNP security or the security line. Okay, this is something which I got into this enterprises, because nowadays the concept of enterprise security data center is all getting over. Okay, the industry wants someone who knows everything: enterprise, network automation, a wireless guy, the security guy. So if you are still in that thinking that I'm an enterprise guy, I will only be dealing with routing and switching, then you are on a danger zone. You have to upgrade your skill so that you can survive in any kind of environment. Okay, so I'll not take a full ASA firewall course or something. Might be I'll take one or two classes where I will show how to allow the port connection, what is the overview of a ASA firewall, what are the things within ASA firewall, and all those things. Okay, now let's talk about the packet flow of ASA. Now we already discussed packet flow in a switch and also inside a router. Okay, so we talked about the three planes like control plane, data plane, management plane. There are terms like routing processor, switching processor. Okay, how the packet flow within switch. Similar way in a router also we discussed about how a traffic comes, what happens within this, and how a traffic leaves. Similar way, ASA is also one hardware. Okay, so let me show you how this looks like. So this is how the ASA firewall looks like. It's very similar to your router and switches. Okay, so basically all these network devices looks like the same. Some are very advanced looking, some are very traditional kind of things. But the outer structure, the hardwares, the motherboard, all those things remain the same. Okay. Okay, so let me tell you what is the packet flow for a Cisco ASA firewall. So let's say this is my ASA firewall. Okay, this is my ASA firewall. So I have a switch here. I have the users over here, and the Cisco switch is connected to ASA firewall, and then this ASA firewall is leading to routers, and router towards ISP cloud. Okay, so user packet, let's say if a user packet wants to reach to internet, so how is the flow? It will first hit the switch, switch will send it to the ASA firewall, ASA firewall will send it to the router. Okay, so we have already discussed about switch and we have already discussed about router in my previous class. Now let's talk about the traffic flow inside the firewall. Okay, as we know, this is going to implicit deny by default. Okay, your traffic is by default implicit deny. Why is that? Because you will have ACL checks here. Okay, so let's say traffic just entered, it will first see if there is any existing connection. Okay, existing connection is in the sense there was already some connection in the previous time slot. Was there any already connection between this user towards this? Was there any such connection? If yes, it will bypass all other inspection and it will directly send to inspection check, and from there it will go to the next step. Now the problem is, let's say this is happening for the first time. The connection between this user and towards internet is happening for the first time. Okay, so in that case it will go with all the parameters. So first it will see the ACL. ACL is nothing but access list. Okay, I told you on a Cisco switch and a router we have to write manually this access list, but inside ASA firewall it is present by default. The first thing it happens is check access list check. If access list is allowed, it will go to the next concept, that is NAT. Okay, we will talk about NAT in depth in future classes. Just as of now, you remember NAT is translating your private IP to public IP. Okay, So private IP is something which is used inside LAN, okay, local area network. Public area is something which is used in the internet, okay. So these are two different types of IPs we will see in upcoming classes. So what is a work of NAT? It is converting private IP to public IP, and then it is sending to inspection engine. What is inspection engine doing? Inspection engine will see all parameters, all the things, if the services are matched, if the source and destination are matched, and one copy of that entry will be saved in this engine. It's also called a stateful nature or a stateful firewall. Basically, every connection will keep one record inside this engine. Then this will be sent to the NAT IP header. From NAT IP header, it will go to IPS module. This is used for detection of DOS attack. You might have heard about DOS, DDoS, right? So we keep a module where DOS and DDoS will be detected, and then it will be sent out. So let's say this is my ASA firewall, okay. From one switch port, I have a switch connected, and the switch has users. Similar way, this ASA firewall has another switch port where router is connected, and router is leading to ISP cloud. So the traffic comes to switch sends to ASA firewall. Within ASA firewall, all these things happen, and then now it's looking for the egress interface. Egress is nothing but outgoing interface, okay? Outgoing interface. And what is ingress? It's incoming interface. So traffic once incomes or incoming traffic, any traffic which is coming inside to ASA box is called as incoming, or also we can call it as ingress. These are the terms used for incoming traffic. Similar way, for a outgoing traffic, we call it as egress. Okay, the traffic which is leaving the ASA firewall. And within this ingress and egress, what happened? These things happened. First, check if the connection already present. If the connection is already present, send to inspection engine, and then look for egress, that is outgoing direction, and just move on. Okay, there is no need of any other checks. Now if this happened for the first time, if the user is accessing Google for the first time, okay, his traffic entered the ASA firewall for the first time. Now in that case, access list will be checked. If there is a matching access list, it says allow this, then it will go to NAT table. NAT will send to the other components like NAT IP header. It will be sent to the outgoing interface, and from outgoing interface it will see the routing table and the layer 2 header, and then it will be transmitted to the router, and then router will see its routing table, something which we learned in the previous class, how router makes a decision with the help of routing table, and then it will be sent to the ISP cloud. So this is the internal flow of these hardwares, which are we going to do the practical in future classes. Okay, so routing switching is not just about sorry, yes.
Yeah, can you just repeat about the stateful firewall, what you mentioned?
Okay,
Just
so
that one. Yeah.
yeah, so the stateful inspection is a add-on feature on some of the firewalls. I don't say on every firewall, because some firewalls come as a stateless firewall also, like some free softwares, or if you use any low end firewalls, they usually come as stateless. ASA by default are all stateful in nature. So what happens is, if there is an existing connection between the source and destination, and let's say it's on port number 22, so this record will be maintained on the inside this inspection engine. Now let's say if there is written traffic coming in, okay, so one is called as traffic which is going, and now a written traffic comes as a response to that. This don't have to build a new connection. Okay, this second traffic which is coming inside doesn't have to build any connection. It will see the inspection table, it will see the stateful nature of the firewall, it will see that already a connection is existing for this source and destination for port number, let's say 50,000. So let me make use of the same connection. I don't have to recreate a new connection. So that is a behavior of a stateful inspection firewalls. Is it clear?
Yeah, and what is the caching mechanism or time or how long it will have that retain it?
So it will remain until the connection is alive. Okay, so it depends on your source and it depends on your destination, what is the time you have set for one connection. If you have set a connection for 30 minutes, then the connection will not get reset for 30 minutes. But let's say by default the source and destination are only having 30 milliseconds of a uh, timeout set. Now this connection will lapse, and as soon as connection lapse, your ASA firewall will remove that connection. It's all about the connection, active connection. If you have active connection for 30 minutes, ASA firewall is going to keep the entry for 30 minutes. If the connection immediately goes up once the job is done, once the file is transferred and connection has to be terminated, your ASA firewall will also remove it immediately. Okay, and for any reconnection, a new set of connection has to be built. Okay.
Okay, so in that case, that existing will not go through the ACL and then match, right? It will
Yes,
directly go
yes,
from 3 to 6.
yes. So why
So
why
what?
why do we use of these concept? Why do we actually use these stateful? Because let's say already a connection was built. Okay, now the response is coming for this traffic only. Let's say this traffic is 123 and I'm getting a response for 123 only. Now if I don't have stateful connection, basically this will be considered as a new connection. And if you take it like if you take it for 1 minute or something, you will see your ASA firewall will have lot of overhead created. That is nothing but the extra CPU getting increased, the extra memory getting increased just for creating new connections every time. So in order to reduce this number of connection and to reduce these things, we follow the stateful nature of the firewall. Okay, it will see some parameter like source, destination, port number, and what is the protocol that is being used, and based on that the new connection will be avoided. It will make use of the existing connection only.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. And regarding the freshers or beginners, are you with me? I mean, hope you guys are not lost somewhere. Okay, this is
Yeah, questions, Sagar.
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Uh, when the source and destination both are in the same network, and why do they have to go through the firewall? Like it's the same organization, right?
Okay, so
But wouldn't we go vice versa? Like wouldn't be coming from the outside, from the ISP to inside to check the firewall?
no,
You know what I mean?
no. That these are two different scenarios. Actually, that is true. From one LAN to another LAN is one scenario, and the second scenario is when I have connection coming from outside world. So, first scenario, let me tell you. Let's say I have a server network which is hosted on 100, let's say 10.1.1.24. Similar way, I have another network called as application network which is hosted on 172.1.1.0/24. Now by default, let's say by default, okay, or let's make it simplified. Let's say I have same network. Okay, now let's say I don't want them to have connectivity, or I don't want them to be reachable. Okay, I just want to allow only those servers or only those application servers which I want. So what I would prefer is sending them to ASA firewall, because by default ASA firewall is going to deny everything, and then as per I get a request from the server team or application team, we want the access to so and so server, and then I go on permitting them. Okay, so this happens in a large scale enterprise levels where all the LAN people or all the users or the servers will not be having access by default. Okay, so let's say if I have multiple networks, if I have the normal users, by default I will not keep their gateways on a firewall. I'll keep it on a layer 3 device like router or MLS. Now when I'm dealing with the servers or something inside LAN, I'll keep the gateway on the firewall. So it depends on where the gateways are located. If the gateways are pointing to the L3 or router, then there is no need of any uh, access list or something. By default, everything's all are communicating to each other. Now, when it comes to servers, we don't need unauthorized access. Someone from other team accessing this, someone trying to ping this, someone causing any DOS attack. So I am going to restrict the usage. So the best point would be make the gateway on the firewall end. By default, everything is getting denied, and only allow that which is required. So this is one
Yeah,
scenario. Yes, this is one scenario of using the ASA firewall in the LAN side. And second is, as usual, as you assume that something coming from outside has to be inspected before letting it in. So yes, one ASIC or any firewall will be placed facing to the ISP cloud.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. From beginner point of view, let me just summarize this. There is nothing very advanced we are dealing here. It's very basic thing only. Okay, so like how we check the packet flow for a switch and a router. Now we check the packet flow for the ASA firewall. Okay, you only should know that firewall is such a hardware. By default, it will deny everything. It will stop everything, and you have to allow by writing specific access list, and only then the traffic will be allowed. Okay, so this is a default behavior how ASA firewall works. Now, when we talk about switch and a router, everything will be permitted by default. And to stop something, we will make use of access list, and we will block that. Only problem with this is it is valid for 10 to 20 lines or 30 lines. But if I have more users, then I have to write more number of access list. Now that is a problem. Okay, so for that, to make life easier, we will point it out to the ASA firewall. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Are we good? I mean, I hope this should be fixed. Okay. Okay. So that was a little bit on the ASA firewall. Well, so next few devices I am not going to cover any in very technical terms, because they are not from network point of view. I just want to show you, and we will move on. Okay, these are wireless controllers. This is important. Okay, so what is wireless controller and where is it connected? It will be connected to your switch again. Your switch is one which will take care of connecting to all other types of devices like access point, wireless controller. Okay, as a short form, I am writing it as WLC, which is wireless LAN controller. This is access point. All other users like computer users or desktop users, servers, storage devices, printers, everything will be connected to a switch. Switch will be connected to ASA firewall. Let's say I want to block this user to access this server. So his traffic will hit here. Okay, so I can apply the implicit deny rule and I can block the communication. If I allow this user to internet, then I can write a permit statement. Now this ASA firewall will send that traffic to router, and then router will send to the ISP. Okay, so ASA can be used for multiple reasons to block this communication. Let's say this communication has to be blocked. I can block that. But at the same time, this traffic, the user from this wants to reach here. Now that traffic I can allow that. Okay, so that is a reason why ASA firewall or any firewall will have multiple options for us to define this. We cannot, we just uh, cannot only like block this based on the source or something. So we will go ahead with this in depth. Okay, as of now, just understand that this is one of the network architecture. Okay, a network architecture which we see in the office or something. Now, what is the role of wireless controller? So wireless controller is a topic coming in wireless. And what is the use of wireless controller? Let's first see what are access point, and then I'll tell you what is this wireless controller. So if you just search for normal access point, you will get all your home user or home access point. So you might have seen this kind of access point at your home, right? There are multiple or different brands providing you the access point. So basically, why do we use? Just to connect or to have the portable reachability, right? Do you think this is only the solution at home? Actually, we also have the option of wired connection, but what is the drawback? I have to stick with the cables. I have to connect the cable on my laptop, and then I have to be sitting front of that. I cannot move around. Now let's say on my mobile, on my mobile, I don't even have that option for the cables, right? So to eliminate these kind of uh, these kind of complexity, I prefer going with Wi-Fi modem. It's called as Wi-Fi modem. Okay, it's also called as access point. So what is access point doing? Access point will have something called SSID, service identifier number. Who is broadcasting? So if you see this antennas, they comes with some radio frequencies. Okay, the known radio frequencies are 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and let's say this is one more 2.4 gigahertz, and these are emitting or these are broadcasting the signals. Okay, let me represent in this way. So they are broadcasting the SSID. Okay, these SSID. Now these SSID are user customizable. Let's say I can create any number of SSID. Let's say I keep one for my office purpose. Okay, let's say that I have some guest coming in. Now I don't want them to use office SSID. I don't want to reveal the password that I have created for office SSID. I would like them to have a guest SSID with no password or very dummy password 123 or something like that. Similar way, let's say we have a kid at home and we can create the SSID called kid, and we can give them connected on this SSID. Okay, so these are all configurable under access point. Why do we do this? I mean, what is the main purpose of creating this? I can apply access list. As I told you, what is normally access list? It is blocking connection or permitting connection. Okay, it's not just blocking; it's permitting or blocking. Okay, so for a kid, I can set the restriction. I can say whoever connects to the kid SSID must not connect to YouTube, Facebook, or any kind, any other website other than whatever his school or whatever some educational website is being permitted or allowed by you. Okay, so only he can access only those websites. So that is the reason of creating multiple SSID. Okay, now as a office network, you might have to connect to VPNs or your corporate website. Okay, and you don't want any other person getting connected to that, so you can restrict those connections. Okay, so we will see this in detail when the topics come. Just I'm giving you the overview of every technology which is part of the enterprises. Okay, and as a whole together, I'm just trying to tell you what all things we see on a access point. Okay, so making use of SSID, setting up the different SSID, creating encryptions, creating passwords. Okay, so these are all the default behavior of a access point. Now, when we talk about enterprise or when we talk about a large scale office or a data center, we just don't deal with one access point. Okay, there will be thousands of access point placed in every floor, or not this floor, every office, right? So every floor there can be 10 to 20 different access point, might be 100 of users are connected to that. Sometimes this access point goes on a toss. Okay, all of a sudden it goes to a frozen mode. Now you need a manual reboot. Okay, how do you do manual reboot? Either walk straight away to that access point, take out the cable, I mean just power off, power in, the things will come up. It will restart the service called DHCP, dynamic host control protocol. That is a service which is embedded in this, inside this. And what is the property of DHCP? To release the IP address, right? As soon as I take my mobile and go near to the access point, if I get authenticated, what happens? We normally go and start browsing, but what happened in the background? I got one IP address to my mobile, right? So this is something which will come across in future classes. So that is a DHCP service, and it always get into hung mode. Okay.
Hi Sagar, I have one doubt. Can I ask you?
Yes.
Yeah, what is the main difference between 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz?
Okay, so basically I said you that we will take this up in the next classes when the actual things are coming up. But let me tell you, 2.4 and 5.
Okay.
This is by default was a wireless radio frequency, but later on 5 was also introduced to wireless technology because of the overlapping happening when there were a lot of users making use of the access point. Okay, so let's say when I have only 2.4 gigahertz everywhere, if I say I have all the access points which are using 2.4, and if I have all the users making use of this, so what happens, or what is the main drawback of a wireless is the overlapping. One user who is connecting to this will get overlapped with some other users. Okay, and your traffic or your signal will be dropped. This is the main disadvantage of any wireless technology. This doesn't happen in a wired connection, because wired connection are always point to point. That is why we say that whenever you need to upgrade some changes in your weekend, we prefer going to office, because in office all our computers are directly connected with the network. Okay, so there is very least chances of getting dropped. But in these cases we will often see, especially in the crowded places like a meeting hall or a events, the connection will be given on a wireless and the connection will get overlapped. Okay, so to avoid such things, we came up with another frequency called 5 gigahertz. Now the difference between these two are the transmitting of these signals. Okay, so let's say in 2.4 the wavelength is something like this. Okay, and in 5 gigahertz the wavelength is very narrow. Okay, so that is why I said I don't want to cover this on the first week itself. We have a dedicated classes for this. Okay, I'm just
Okay, fine.
Okay. So where I'll show you what is collision, what are channel numbers, why 2.4 and why 5 gigahertz. Okay, and that is not the end here. Actually, this ranges between 2.4 to 5 gigahertz. In between, there are still further ranges which are being proposed to the internet community. Okay, it's called as Wi-Fi aliens. So if you ever go to this website, these are the entities which take care of the wireless development. Okay, so any standardization, any kind of issues with regards to wireless will be taken care by these online group. So as per these group, they are introducing they are introducing furthermore wireless bandwidth. So in future, you will also see access point coming up with other antennas supporting 5.5, or might be you will see 2.6. So don't be surprised that time that why my access point have 4 antennas, why only because earlier we had only one antennas, 2.4. Now later on they got 2.4 along with 5. Now in future we can see 4 antennas with 2.4, 5, 5.6, and because to avoid those overlapping of the signals. Clear?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Fine. So come back to the access point. As I was telling, these are normal access point. Okay. And what all things we can do on just a single access point. Now, when we talk about enterprise or when we talk about office network, there will be thousands of access point deployed. Okay. Now let me tell about one simple office. Okay. So let's say a simple office which consists of 10,000 employees. So where will be these 10,000 employees sitting at? They will be sitting at office. Now these 10,000 employees will have a separate number of computers, separate number of laptops. They will have their own bring your own devices, BYOD, like mobile or iPads. Okay. So they will all keep on roaming here and there, balconies or your cafeterias or any food court, anywhere, right? And everywhere you have to deploy these kind of access point. Now let's say there is data center where you are going to keep all these network devices, Cisco routers, switches, all those things. So they over there also you need these access points. So basically on a office, on an average, there can be more than like 1000 access point to 5000 access point. Okay. I have seen some offices which are into the warehouse, all those things, production kind of network, where they have their daily drivers who come with their logistic. Okay. And they have to deliver the items to some customer. Okay. Now once they reach to the warehouse, they have to download the map on the daily basis, because the direction will change on daily basis. Let's say today that logistic or transportation is going to XYZ. Next day the same logistic would go to ABC direction. Okay. So they will not be given the direction uh, beforehand. They have to walk to the warehouse. They will make use of these access point to download the map, and then they will carry or deliver those items. Okay. So these access point will should be functional. If for example for some reason this is down, okay, on the previous overnight or something, it went down and this driver is not able to download, now the entire things cause a loss for the company. Okay. So to avoid these kind of issues happening, like something going down and you don't know, something comes in, let's say there is a requirement of 100 access point and you want to configure them immediately, like on a next 1 day or 2 days. Manually it is going to take a lot of time. If you configure individually each access point, it's going to take a lot of time. So what we prefer is making use of controller. Okay. So let's say let me show you what is a wireless controller. So this is a wireless controller which comes with some graphical interface. Okay. Let's say I have a graphical interface and this is connected to a switch, and the switch is connecting to multiple access point. Let's say access point 1, access point 2, access point 3, similar way access point 4, and so on. Okay. Now everything can be monitored on this graphical interface. I don't even have to go nearby this to see if the LEDs are blinking, or I don't have to manually log into each one of them to see if the DHCP service are working, if it is really up or down, what is the issue here. Okay. I don't have to do on a manual basis. I will be having this graphical interface and all my access point will be listed here, like access point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all everything. If something is down, I will be shown up with a red indication. So that means that access point is down. So let's say this is going down, might be because the cable got cut. Immediately that will trigger up over here showing as red indication. Okay. Now I can control all the access point via this controller. That is the purpose of access. That's the purpose of a wireless controller, to control multiple access point. Okay. It is not only about your day-to-day operation. Let's say in future you have to upgrade the softwares. individual software. They are running on 1.1 and now there is 5.1 and you have to upgrade them. So you can push the software from this way, from the graphical interface, and you can upgrade every access point. Okay. I had a project where I have upgraded these access point on a centralized basis. Okay, around like thousands of access point which are located in different sites, were all controlled via single controller and just the images were pushed. Okay, so how it works is, once let's say I'm dealing with the first access point, I will send the image, I will reboot this. Once it comes up, I have to do the real testing. Okay, I need one live user who can check by connecting to this access point, and he will update me saying that yes, it's working. Now I will mark it as completed, then I'll move to the second access point. Okay, and so on. I can do everything from the controller. I don't have to log into any of the boxes. That is one point. Second point is, if something goes down, I immediately get triggered up here saying that this is down. Okay, and I can fix the issue. So this is a work of a wireless controller.
I have a question.
Okay.
So you said, imagine if we had 1,000 access points controlled by the wireless controller. How exactly would the wireless controller be connected to the access points?
You mean to say the access point connected to wireless controller? Or I didn't get.
Yeah. Yeah. How are they connected to the access points? Is it wirelessly? And if you're trying to, let's say one of the access points has some, like you said, might have the lights might be red, the LED lights might be red. How would you go configure it to troubleshoot the problem remotely from the wireless controller?
So see, the technology that they are using is wireless. Okay, but they themselves are being connected over wired. Okay,
Okay.
the back end of the devices are on wired connectivity, but they are broadcasting wireless, or they are giving the features of wireless to the users, but they themselves fall under wired category. Okay, so let's say if I have a normal Cisco switch, from Cisco switch I will be laying a cable to the wireless controller. Let's say this is a wireless controller. I keep a RJ45 wired connectivity, and then from this Cisco switch I will be laying another cable to access point. So all other access points are connected over wired connection. Now as a service or as a feature of an access point, they are going to send the wireless signals to the users. Users are connected via wireless, but the background of these access points are over on a wired medium. So does that answer your question?
Okay, so from the access point, they're plugged into a Cisco switch. Then from a Cisco switch, they're plugged into the wireless controller, right?
Yes.
So is it true? Like, how many ports could be on a wireless controller? For example, let's assume you have 1,000 access points plugged into a Cisco switch.
Okay.
And then you have another Cisco switch, for another 1,000 access points.
Okay.
Also plugged into a port on the wireless controller. Like what could be on a large scale, say for an enterprise network?
Okay.
How many ports could a wireless controller have?
Okay, so
I don't know if you get, yeah.
no, I got your answer. I got your question. So it doesn't restrict to use of one WC for one enterprise. Okay, so let's say this is a scenario for one of the branch office in Scotland. Okay, now if you deal with some other data centers, you can see the similar design where you have another wireless controller, you have switches and switches connected to access point. So every data center will have their own their own wireless controller. So it's not that one wireless controller and then you're managing all several other data centers. It's like a side by side. Every site will have their own wireless controller. There are chances sometimes they will have 4 wireless controller, or maybe they have a pair of 6 wireless controllers. So that depends on the design, and that depends on the user, because these wireless controller will have some limitations like how many access point you can associate, how many users that you can control. Okay, and depending upon that you can deploy the number of wireless controller. If you are okay with 2 wireless controller, you can deploy 2. If you have more requirement, you can bring in more wireless controller.
Uh,
Yes, go ahead.
Just to add in.
Sagar, I have one doubt.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, we have two location. One is in Dubai and the second one is in India. Okay.
Okay.
My wireless controller is located in Dubai. And India office, I have a 2-3 access point.
Okay.
So is it possible?
It is possible, but how are you going to give the connection between Dubai and India? That
So we are VPN by VPN.
then it is possible to integrate that. Only it matters is the let's say if you have a new WLC, you have to discover those access point. Okay, so basically this wireless controller must have reachability to access point. That is the first basic thing for the WLC to integrate access point. If you can discover, it doesn't matter whether it's on a same branch or it's on a 2 different branches. If you have a active IPsec tunnel, yes, you can integrate them, but there can be some issues later on. Issues like if there are latency, then might be they are not getting synced up at a time. If this goes down and the VPN was also down, might be your WLC was not able to record that outage. Okay, those are different things, but yes, you can integrate them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks guys. Okay, after WLC controller, this is one of the access point. And yes, as I was talking about access point, the access point which I showed you was one of the home usage. Okay, these are access point which is used at home. For enterprise, we have a different kind of access point, some better ones. Okay, so let me write it as Cisco access point. So these are access point which are also called as Aeronet. Okay, and they are very advanced. Also, they are very much costly. Okay, they come up to like 45,000 INR to your 1 lakh. Okay, so guys from international, this is something very close to 1,000 USD dollars. Okay, starting from 1,000 USD dollars. Okay, these access points. The ones which I showed you, you might get it for 100 US dollars or might be for 50 US dollar. But when we talk about the enterprise access point, they are very costly, and these can be used for outdoor. Okay, so you can just keep it anywhere in the outside outdoor location. They are all good. They have the resistance power to capture or handle the temperature or the rain, all those things. Okay, and the second important thing which you may not be knowing is RFID. Okay, so let's say when we walk through any 5-star hotels, they normally keep some RFIDs. Okay, so let's say I have a VIP entering in. So as soon as he reaches over here, the RFID card which is kept, which he have in his pocket, will sync with these devices which is capable of running RFID, and the doors will get opened up. His all portfolio will get loaded up on the front desk that the person has entered. His room has been so and so. He has been provided so and so facilities. Okay, so these are all the technology which we use for some VIPs or VVIPs. Okay, so that's all things, or that is something which comes under hotel industry, or not only hotel industry. When someone, a politician or someone who walks in, basically you will give them some extra gestures, like they don't have to wait for a queue, or they don't have to wait for something. So basically we will be providing them RFID. So how does a RFID card look like? So these are some RFID card, okay, and if they keep it inside their pocket and they walk very close to, not very close, there are some distance or a range like 10 meter to 15 meters of a range, this will automatically open the door. All the portfolios of that person or that delegate will be opened up on the screen. Everything will be visible. You don't even have to wait in that queue. Okay, so there are multiple purposes of RFID. I just told one. You can just get it in case if you have already worked here RFID or something. Okay, so the point was these are capable of multiple things. Okay, also nowadays we have something called Cisco Meraki, which is wireless technology. The Meraki not only does the functionality of wireless controller or access point, it also provides multiple other features like network automation. Okay, you can configure a complete site. You can troubleshoot the access points or the wireless issues. So this is a one more latest topic which is introduced by Cisco Meraki. But yes, we don't have it in CCNP. I just thought of telling you.
This cloud, right? Cisco Meraki.
Yeah, it is placed in a cloud platform. Okay. So these are few advancement in the wireless technology. Might be this is something why Cisco introduced the wireless concept in the enterprises. Okay, now let's see about one more hardware or a device that we normally see in the enterprise, that is Cisco servers like UCS server, Unified Control Systems or servers. Okay, so what basically these servers are used for? Now let's say we all browse google.com, facebook.com, Yahoo, or any website, right? So where are these home pages loaded up? They are actually loaded up on these servers. Okay, these servers will have all these web pages loaded up. We can also make use of the VMs or hypervisor, and we can set different networks inside this, and then we can provide the access to users on globally. So basically let's say this is a server for a Google, and it will have all the versions of Google web pages, like Google version for Indian users, for China user, for US, for UK, any kind of users who are coming in. Okay, so these web pages are basically loaded up on these servers. Okay, okay. So how are these servers being connected? They are again connected on a Cisco Cisco switch. Okay, so this will be your Cisco switch. Cisco switch will be leading to your ASA firewall. ASA firewall will be taken to the router, and router to ISP provider. Now when we have multiple such servers, okay, when we have multiple servers, let's say if the traffic is coming from India, I want this to point to this server, which is a dedicated server for Indian user. Let's say everything is related to Indian point of view, the searches, the search queries, the users, the keywords like trending keywords. Okay, similar way we have users coming from China, and I want to send those traffic to the China server. Similar way I have some users who are coming to the US version, so the trending keywords over in US might be different than India. Might be the hot topics or the news going on in US is different than Indian. So why do a US user want to see the Indian news or what is happening in India, right? He preferably first wants to see what is happening in his own home state or home country, and then he will go towards the global version. So who is doing this redirection work? Like if something comes to so and so, let's send to that. So basically we can also keep something called as a load balancer. Okay, and where is this load balancer connected? It's again on this Cisco switch. So your Cisco switch is one which will connect to all other end devices. Okay, load balancer, everything. So basically, what is a load balancer? There are multiple examples for load balancer, like you have F5 load balancer. Similar way, Cisco had its own load balancer. I think it's called as ADC, application delivery controller. Okay, so there are multiple load balancer by multiple vendors. This is by Big IFE, Cisco. We have Netscaler. Okay, so multiple vendors have their own load balancers. So the load balancer, what it does is it will read the user traffic, the origin of the user, and then it will redirect the traffic. This is one example of using load balancer. Second example could be, let's say I have multiple servers, like this is server number 2, server number 1, 2 and 3. If the traffic is all coming inside and I don't want only the TCP connection or the traffic to get established only on the first server, what happens will be, what would be happening is all other server will be 0% utilized, and my first server is getting choked up with 90%. Okay, I'll keep my load balance here, so that load balancer have some internal algorithms. Okay, we have internal algorithms which is also called as load balancing algorithms. Now it will be sending some keep alives. It has its own mechanism to track all the servers. And what it will be tracking? It will be tracking the utilization that is going across on these servers. Now let's say the connection establishment. First connection comes, load balancer will establish or send that connection to the server 1. Second traffic comes, it will send to second server. Third traffic comes, it will send to the third traffic. So all the servers are equally getting distributed. Okay, that is a work of load balancer. And where are these servers kept? It is behind a load balancer. Okay, now if you would be wondering what is the work of a server, how is it server integrated with a Cisco switch, how do we see the servers in an enterprise? So this is one fine example of making use of these servers. These servers are kept behind load balancer. I already explained few simple examples of load balancer, what is the purpose of load balancer, and the load balancer will be integrated with these kind of servers, and all your applications, the web pages, any development sites, websites, everything will be loaded up on these servers. Okay, all your web pages, everything will be loaded up here. So all your applications, softwares, everything will be here, and the access will be given to the user, so they can come and access this. Okay, this is something specially for such enterprises who deals with software selling, like your SAP Labs. What are they into? SAP Labs, they develop the softwares. Now if you talk about Intuit, now what are they into? They are developing software. So there are many brands which sell the software. It could be the tax kind of softwares or payroll kind of software. Even inside Cisco, let's say you are a Cisco employee, or if you are a Juniper employee, or any enterprise employee, you will have your own payroll websites or a payroll portal where you can upload your documents or tax related documents, right? Now those softwares are built by some software selling companies, and those software selling companies will keep those softwares inside these servers. And now let's say this server is given to the Cisco people. Let's say this server is given to some Amazon guys, or the company called Amazon. Now let's say this server is given to some other people. Okay, so this is how the servers can be utilized, and what is the purpose of server I just demonstrated over here. Okay, so I don't think there is doubts here, because this actually comes under data center track. Okay, so when you do anything related to Cisco CCNP data center, earlier we had CCNA data center, and now this has been taken down. So if you do CCNP data center and CCI data center, you will read more about the UCS server, unified controlled servers. Okay, Along with that, you will be reading about the Nexus technologies like 9K, 7K, 5K, all those things. You will also be reading about the ACI part. Okay, so they are all a different track in Cisco syllabus. Okay, they are called as a data center normally. So good with this servers. Okay, and one last components that we normally see in the enterprise are the storage devices. Again, we as a network engineer don't deal directly with the storage device, but this is part of our syllabus copy for CCNP. Okay, so what is the expectation? The only thing is you must know what are these storage devices. Okay, so I'll just give you one few examples, so you make you know what are storage devices. So if you talk about any older kind of storage devices, so you might have seen those tapes that used to be uh, plugged in, right? These we had these all storage devices in past, a CD drive, USB drives. Okay, if you see the oldest storage tapes, so basically these kind of tapes were used. Okay, so let me show you. So these are some floppies that were used 10-15 years back.
Tape drives.
Yeah, similar way we had okay, so these were all used for entertainment purpose. I just don't want to bring everything. Okay, I'm talking about from the
One on the,
enter.
the one on the green are the storage. Yeah.
Okay,
The yeah
yeah,
that's the one.
okay.
Yeah.
So we had some storage tapes also. Okay, so if you just worked 10 years back on network domain, these storage tapes used to be storage tapes. They used to be used. Why do we use storage devices in enterprise? To take the backups of the devices. Let's say if one device goes down for some reason, what is my step? I would create RMA and I would give this, or I would send this back to Cisco and take a new one over and plug it here. But what about my configuration? Okay, the configuration of this device. So on a daily basis, I used to take the backup of all these devices, keep inside the tapes, and these tapes used to be labeled as per the date. So let's say today is uh, 1st of Jan. I used to label these tapes. Now similar way, if there is any memory left or if there is any storage left, the same tapes can be used for the next day. But if there is no space, I was making use of the next new tape to take the backup of this. Now the things have been all changed. Okay, now a single server comes up with 1 TB or 2 TB, 3 TB of storage devices. These used to be 10 years back, when the storage devices used to be maximum 1 GB or 2 GBs or all of that kind of thing. Nowadays, even the size of those storage chips are such a small micro size or micromillimeters that it is capable of storing even 1 TB of storage data. If you just talk about the USB pen drives, just a small pen drive is capable of 64 GBs, right? So these are storage devices. And when we talk about the enterprise storage devices, then let's see some enterprise storage devices. So you would be expecting, or you
Screen sharing.
yeah.
Is
So
gone.
is it fine? I think I by mistakenly clicked on something and
Yeah.
okay, great. So now if you see the enterprise kind of storage devices, so these are some storage boxes. Okay, and they can store up to 3 TBs or 10 TBs. See, if you see this, these are all the storage boxes kept in an enterprise. Why do we need a storage boxes? Now let's say, let's take an example of a YouTube or Vimeo. Okay, any video hosting companies. Okay, if you think from any video hosting company, their main business is to host the videos that a user is uploading on their server. Okay, so let's say when you guys have your own YouTube channel or something, so we usually upload our videos to the YouTube server, and in the background of YouTube data center, they will keep these kind of storage boxes, and this is where your videos go and sit. Okay, so that is why a storage boxes are very much in need or very important for especially for video hosting companies like YouTube, Vimeo. Might be if you check from other point of view, like any other company who are not directly related with video uploading, might be they are only dealing with web pages or software development. They more focus on the servers because that is their bread and butter. That is their main business. Once the company or the company which deal with the videos, especially videos, because nowadays if you talk about the video definitions, you have the standard definition, you have the high quality definition, right? So basically a single video of your like 100 MB can go up to 5 GB size also. That's what the standard of the good or the better resolution videos are nowadays. If you go to YouTube, you will see plenty of resolution starting from 144 very normal pixel to very high definitions, right? So even the file size increases. A small or a basic one might take like 300 MB. Now the same file size, when you increase the resolution, can go up to 30 GB also. I'm just talking about one file size. Now there are so many users, so many files gets uploaded on daily basis. Now those files go and sit on these storage boxes. Okay, so where is this place? This is again connected to your switches, and then switches connected to ASA firewall or just any firewalls or load balancers. Then they go and connect to the routers connect to your ISP cloud, and then it's all your multiple users on globally try to access, download everything. Okay, so these are few devices that get interacted every connection, in connection also as well as out connection. So as a enterprise track, I have explained you all the required things starting from a switch, router, ASA firewall, wireless controller, servers, storage boxes. Okay, I don't see anything that is left out from enterprise point of view. Okay, these are some devices which get interacted most of the time. Okay, if someone is even browsing a web page, his traffic has to come interacting these devices. Okay, and as a network engineer, your task is specially over here. Okay, you don't have to deal about the server. There will be dedicated server team who will be taking care of this. There will be a separate dedicated team who will be taking care of the storage devices. Your work is over here to give the connection. If something goes wrong, if there is some slowness issue, if there is any cable cut, if there is any software that has to be upgraded on these, then it's a network engineer role to fix that and give the best the best network connection for that services. Okay, so are we good till now? Are we good with all the basic components that is used in the enterprises?
Yeah, but I was saying,
Okay.
Yeah.
The storage, they sit behind the server.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
So you communicate with the server.
Sorry?
I was saying the storage sit behind the server.
Yes, yes. Storage sits behind a server. Okay, so if I have a server connection, it sits behind a storage normally. The reason is I cannot, as a user, I need a front end, right? I am not expert to deal with the back end. I am getting a front end interaction which is loaded on the server. I will upload the file, and then that server will know how to synchronize or how to uh, send your files to the storage devices. Okay, so let me tell you a simple example of AWS server. If you buy a storage services from AWS, which is called as S3 console or S3 storage boxes. Okay, now I'm not an expert where I can directly take the console of S3. I can directly do some coding and start uploading my files. I would need some easy backend or easy, not backend, easy front end where I see the interaction happening. So when I load aws.s3.com, I must get a web page where it gives me clear instruction to upload some file. Then once I click on the browse button, it just opens a new window. I can select my file, and then I can say yes, this is the file that I want to upload. Now this uploading is happening actually on the storage boxes. Okay, so the storage box sits back or behind of a server is giving me the web page to do the activity or upload the file, and the server is integrated with the storage to take those files and place it on the storage boxes. Okay, so that is how it works. And also from user point of view, let's say so as from my side I said about this. Now from the user point of view, if a user wants to access any video on YouTube, now where is YouTube been placed? YouTube is placed on your server. The web page is placed on a YouTube server, or the youtube.com website is kept here on a server that is integrated with the storage boxes. So that is how you watch a video or something on that web pages. Okay, so server and storage are integrated. Okay, they have dedicated engineers, server engineers, storage engineers. Okay, only thing is we need to provide them network. The cables should not go on a toss, or if they ask for some networks, create the network and give them, because they will be doing a lot of VMs on their servers for testing, for patching. Okay, you might be seeing sometimes some official website will be under maintenance window, because parallelly they are upgrading their storage boxes or servers. Say they don't want a user getting 404 page numbers, or a user don't find getting redirected to some parked website or somewhere else. So it would be very polite thing for a user to see a maintenance window and letting him know that there is something going on the back end. So please come after 1 hour or after next day or something. Okay, so this is how these things are integrated. So any doubt? Any doubt?
Hi, Sagar.
Yes. Hello.
Sagar?
Yes.
Hi, so a question for you.
Okay.
Wireless controller. So controller, that is a kind of brain, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Brain for all the access points.
Lightweight. What is the lightweight? So that's a term I think I heard about the lightweight wireless controller. So there is another one.
No.
So what do you mean lightweight?
They are all a part of wireless controller. Okay, so we don't call it wireless heavyweight or something. We call it lightweight because it can handle multiple devices. Okay, so let me show you wireless.
Lightweight means
I can. It is actually for IAP, instant access points. So instant access points are something which you don't need a controller for a smaller number of access points, like up to 10 or 20 access points. You can run it without controller. So one of the access point will act as a controller. they will be in a virtual controller, it will access. So people shortly call it as an lightweight access point, but it is actually a terminology is instant access point.
Okay, so
IAP.
this wireless lightweight access point, right? So it's not a wireless lightweight controller. Agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. So if it is,
Wireless
if it is a wireless lightweight access point, then it's a different concept. We don't have anything for wireless lightweight controller. Okay, it's always a wireless LAN controller, or WLC we normally call it as.
Okay. For another question is SSID.
Okay.
So SSID is like a VLAN. It's like similar to VLAN.
Yes, it is similar to VLAN.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
So another question. So in case, let's say we are in wireless nowadays, we are in like a wireless environment.
Okay.
So how our data packets moving to wireless in a kind of security? So anybody can able to hack our packets, isn't it?
No, it is.
So how
See,
how the packets are connecting to the wireless wireless access point?
yeah, I'll tell you about this. Basically, this would have come in future, but I'll just brief you. So even wireless have their own encryption methods. Okay, so if I show you my wireless adapter, and if I take you to let's say wireless properties, so these are the encryptions method that a wireless traffics are going to use. Okay, so it's
using like a VPN connection, like a tunnel.
No, it's not about VPN. VPN is a different concept. This is about encryption.
Tunnel.
This is
Encryption.
yeah.
This is an encryption, right?
This is encryption. It's called as encryption. It is not on two different sites or something like that. It's kind of encryption. Yeah, one part of VPN I can say, but overall VPNs are different things. I can say one part of VPN, the first part where two encryption have to match on A and B, right? In a IPsec VPN, the two encryption has to match, then it will go to the next authentication, then it will go to lifetime, all those things. Now that is only the one part here in the wireless. Okay, so this will be covered up in future. I will tell you how these wireless datas are protected. Okay, so that no other users make use of your wireless and use your bandwidth. And okay, so one last thing here, and then I think we can see what to do next. Okay, the last thing here is data center, which I've been talking about data center. So most of you guys would know what is data center. Okay, so for someone who joined for first time to the networking courses, so let me tell you, data center is a specialized building, or a very very protected building or infrastructure which is kept away from the offices. Okay, it's not your office, it's not your normal office or something where users or employees go, sit, do their 9 to 5 job and come back. Okay, offices are different, and you will keep very limited devices there, like some switches, some access points, some routers. Okay, only limited thing. Majority of things, majority of all your storage boxes, your servers, your routers, all those things will be kept inside a data center. Okay, now this data center will be maintained on very extreme temperature, extreme in the sense very lower end temperature, like the temperature can be on a -degree or like 1 degree or something. Okay, I'm not sure what is the exact temperature that they maintain, but it will be on very lower temperature. So it is not a comfortable zone for any users to sit 9 to 5 and go back. Okay, it's only when some device goes down, or if your device is faulty, your field engineer walks into the data center by taking a proper gate pass, by following or by entering the logins. He will walk in, he will replace the faulty unit, and he will walk back. Okay, so every company, not every company, some brand companies, okay, most of the brand companies will have their own data centers located in various locations. Okay, so let's say this is one of the example for demonstrating Google data center in one of the location. Okay, might be this is in US. Similar way, we have a data center for Facebook, which is in US or some region. Okay, so we see these data centers created on multiple locations. Let's say if I talk about Facebook, you can see the Facebook data center in India. You will see the Facebook data center in US. You will see Facebook data center in China. Now, why do we make use of data center in different location? The reason is, if the users are all Indians, now his traffic will hit this data center. His traffic don't have to go, or his traffic don't have to travel all across submarine oceans or all those things and reach the US server. Okay, only when if he specifically enters, let's say when I do amazon.us. Now, in this case, there is chances his traffic will be taken to US from India to US. Most of the time, if he is trying amazon.in, now the web pages will be kept on this data center, which is nearby to the user. Okay, this is all done to avoid any slowness. Okay, so we are giving the maximum speed to the users. The web page must load very faster. Okay, the web page must load very faster, and his traffic must be taken to this data center, and these data center consist of all your storage boxes, servers, routers, switches, everything. Okay, and the and if you talk about the packet levels, there is high throughput. Okay, so we normally don't make use of the iOS or XE family within this. We basically make use of a Nexus devices which have very high throughputs. So let me show you a few data centers. You can also see the data center 360 view. Okay, for someone who have never heard about the word data center, so this is a data center for Facebook located in various regions. Okay, so you might be wondering, why don't Facebook have one data center in US and give access to all other users from other part of the world. Okay, it's only to cut down that slowness. Someone coming from India to US, instead keep that data center in India itself, so his traffic will directly go to Indian data center, and US will be targeted to the US regions. Okay, fine. So I guess most of you guys are already aware of data center. So I don't want to. Okay, 1 second. I think there is some latency again. Okay, I wanted to show few things. Might be that file is not synced. Okay, so I think we can take that up in the next class. Okay, so next class is all about uh, the architecture overviews. Okay, so basically I would be covering things like 2-tier, 3-tier, spine leaf, a little bit on the SD access architecture or the topology or SD-WAN. Okay, just an overview of how devices are placed or what is the traffic flow on these topologies or these architectures. Okay, so we all might be knowing about two tier and three tier architecture. It's nothing but the orientations of the devices. Okay, so basically a three tier architecture will have a core, distributed or distribution, and then access layer. When we talk about two layers, it will be merged up, and then we have access layer. And similar way, when we have spine leaf, we have some different orientation. So I'll just go through all these things in the next class. Okay, and then we will go. So how many are done with the labs? Are we good with the labs? I mean, you guys have configured the labs. Might be from Monday. I will start going up with the lab topics. Okay, I'll start up with the basic one, like first VLAN, VTP, STP, DTP, all these things. Okay, so I'll start this from Monday. So from Monday we will be seeing the lab classes. So if you guys have done with the lab, so you can also practice after the classes. Okay, so these are something which we will start from the Monday.
Hey, Sagar, Kalha
Yes.
here. I still don't have access to the lab.
Okay, so did you get the files which are supposed to be downloaded?
What files?
Some
Remember, I joined yesterday.
Yeah, but I shared you some Google Drives file, right? Google Drive. Did I share you?
No, you didn't.
Okay, so
No.
I will share you some Google Drive file. So just download them and let me know once you have downloaded. Okay, I'll take on remote and I'll set that up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sagar,
Hello. Yeah, go ahead.
Sagar, I didn't. I think I registered today. I think so. I didn't. Nobody contacted me for the lab.
Okay.
And how should I get that files? All the files and everything.
Okay.
That means.
So I will forward.
Slide.
I will forward you. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what do you mean by labs? I have access to the VMs and everything, but I don't have instructions. Of
No. With lab, I mean to say, do you have that topology over on GNS?
All right. If that's what.
Yeah. So this is what I mean, and you will be getting the topology or the lab workbook on daily basis. Like say, for example, today is a lab on VTP or DTP or something. So after the class, I will be giving you the workbook, and you can start practicing on those technologies. So it will be class based. Okay, fine.
All right, because you had mentioned that you were asking if people have configured VTP or VLAN.
No. I'm not saying whether you configure. I'm just telling that I will start it from Monday. I'll start from the
Okay.
from Monday. Okay. So I'm expecting is that you guys have configured that GNS and you have the topology with you guys.
Topology. All right.
Okay. So I'm not sure whether you came back for the files, but as far as I remember, I have pinged everyone those 4 files which is required to set this GNS. Okay, so let
Are those files the ones you're referring to that are on Google Drive, or are you talking about the ones that you sent us in the WhatsApp message?
Yeah, so those are the ones which I sent you over the WhatsApp message, those 3 files. So basically I'm talking about those. Okay,
because I'm having issues still with the access in the Google Drive.
Okay, so if it's regards to the permission, then don't worry. I will approve those permissions. Okay, so you will be having a permission to download them, and then let me know. I will take a WebEx and I will set that lab for you.
About the lab, for some reason, I don't know if it's probably my system, but it's lagging seriously and it's moving too slow.
Okay, might be. What is your RAM? What is the RAM that you have?
Oh, it's 8 gigs. 8
Okay,
gigs.
and how many instances are you trying to load up?
So I was just trying to load up just the switching section.
Okay. So yeah, so try to load like for 8 GB, it's you can load up only four instances. So try to load 4 instances, yeah, because each instance will take 768 MB. And what happens with the switch is they start giving the ARP broadcast. So so it will start affecting your entire laptop, but that doesn't happen on a router scenario. You can have 10 routers open at a time, but as for a switch, even 4 will cause you lot of impact.
All right.
Is that in side of the VM that you're?
Yeah.
That's why I haven't configured yet.
Okay, so so I only have given you those downloadable files. Download it and just keep it ready, because they are like some 3 GB or 4 GB. Okay, once you have them ready, let me know. I will take the WebEx and I'll set it up. Okay.
One last question, sorry. How much RAM would you say you should give to the VM?
Anything like 12 GB, or if you only have 8 GB, then might be you have given 6 GB dedicated to the VM, I guess. Now that 2 GB for your system would be very less to handle.
Would be very less. I gave it 4 so that I could balance it.
Okay, in that case, your VM has only 4 GB, so you try to run only 4 instance of a switch.
Okay. All right.
Sagar, you have provided one lab, so can I add one more ASA firewall so I don't have that image?
Okay, you can add. I can provide you the image for ASA firewall.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I will need that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you the Google Drive for ASA firewall, so you can download them. Basically, they are all protected. Okay, so basically you have to send the request and I'll allow it. So it's not open for everyone. It's just for the students. So just have some patience, because due to the time zone difference, might be I approve next morning or something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I get some requests, I keep on granting or allowing those. Okay, guys. So fine. So let's meet up in the next class with a new topic. Okay. So hope this class was engaging, and let's meet up in the next class. Okay. Have a nice and fine day.
The notes for this class, are they going to be uploaded to the Google Drive?
Yeah, I can provide you. I can provide you these PPTs straight away.
Can you maybe do it via WhatsApp, because I don't have access to Google Drive yet?
Okay, I can do that. I'll do one thing.
Or email.
Yeah. So basically, I will do one thing. I'm going to create an access on our web portal to each one of you. So you have to log into those web portal, and there is where you are all recording videos, the documents, the workbook in future going to be. Okay. So each one of you are going to get the access for the portal. So give me some time to create them, because I have to create in the back end.
All right.
Okay, that's a wonderful idea. I think that's
yeah, because if I share it, share it over on WhatsApp, things will not be tracked sometimes.
Yeah, it will be messy.
Yes,
yeah.
So I'll keep it on some. So I'll keep it on the web portal or somewhere where you have your complete access. You have 365 days access on those. So whenever you want, you can come.
Yeah, that's way better. Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Question.
Okay.
The topology in GNS3, we can also access it online. And I tried to access it online, but it was asking for a username and password.
So this is username and password that is on your GNS or something, or it might be you have to set this up. It is nothing dealing with the topology. We have not set any password or username for the topology. Might be this is the remote configuration that you have to do it on your GNS client. To get the remote control, might be this is one-time settings which you have to enable on your client.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
okay. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. See you all in the next class.
Yeah, you too,
Okay,
Saga. Thank
okay.
you. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.